Tonight, we dive into a world where cryptids exist, shrouded in mystery and fear. 8 investigators are on the trail of 8 legendary creatures, each with their own deadly secrets. But can they uncover the truth before becoming prey themselves? In this game of survival, nothing is certain except the thrill of the chase. Welcome to the Drama Does TTRPG 2024 Halloween Special. The Cryptid Chronicles, where the unknown lurks in every shadow, and the hunt for the truth is as dangerous as the creatures themselves. Our next encounter, the Crystal Kraken, last of its kind, emerging from the depths. Can a solitary lighthouse keeper forge a bond with this majestic creature? Or are they both destined to remain alone forever? Discover the truth now with special guest, Genie.
Okay, alrighty. So, welcome to another tale of Cryptid Chronicles. I am here with Jean. Hello, how are you?
Hello. I'm going so wonderfully this morning.
That's good, that's good. It's wonderful sunny times down under, so, you know, we're having a good time.
It is sunny, and it's wonderful.
It is, it's going to be so warm today. But yeah, no, we're inside playing another round of OK Cryptid, so yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, well, my name's Jean. I'm a music student. I play clarinet and I sing, and then I'm also just a TTRPG enthusiast. I haven't got many opportunities to play things outside of D&D, but I have really been wanting to, and so this has been a great opportunity for me. And I'm really excited to perhaps romance a monster or perhaps be killed by one. We will see.
You will see. It'll be, yeah, you've got the Crystal Kraken.
Ooh.
So tentacles and... I mean, we're just going to stop there, right?
Colours. Shapes and colours.
Shapes and colours.
Shapes and colours and tentacles.
Yeah, so this is going to be an interesting story. I kind of loved this one when I was trying to create it. Because he's a bit of a lonely boy.
He is a lonely guy. He's a lonely guy.
But yeah, so tell us about your investigator, your little guy.
Yeah, my little guy. So I will be playing Dr. Johannes Klein. He's 47, from Germany, from Berlin. A retired archaeologist who has been researching ancient oceanic civilizations from an old lighthouse. Enjoys solitude, is divorced, and, well, is one of those people who looks into things that he probably shouldn't be looking into, a little, you know, diving into the esoteric and heretical things. He's a little introvert.
Bless him. What's his favourite quote?
His favourite quote is, "You can't handle the truth!" From, I think we all know where that's from, but A Few Good Men.
And what are 3 things he can't do without?
He cannot do without a rich espresso coffee, Franz Kafka's Metamorphosis, and a fishing rod.
Oh, he likes to go out and have a little fishy fish.
He does, on his little dinghy.
Alright, how does he like to spend his weekends?
His weekends are usually spent smoking from a pipe and reading an old book, fishing off of the coast in his little dinghy, and a particular guilty pleasure of his is people watching and taking their sketches in an old journal.
Ooh, interesting. From his high lighthouse, yeah.
His lighthouse, yeah.
Alrighty, what's the first thing people notice about him?
Well, despite his age, he definitely looks in his 50s, even though he's only 47. But he has a very grown-out greying mop of unkempt hair and patchy facial hair that just hasn't been shaved in months, but somehow isn't super long. It's just he's not able to grow facial hair like some men. And the very sad and lonely look in his eyes.
Aww. Yeah, this man needs some tentacles.
He needs some tentacle love and care.
I love that. That's brilliant. Okay, alrighty. So I will read the little intro that we have for the Crystal Kraken, and then we'll get into our adventure to see if Mr. Johans can seduce or succumb to the creature. Who knows? One day, a somber tone rings in your ears. A low, sonorous sound. It sounds sad and lonely. You stand atop your lighthouse, and in the distance, you see something rising from the ocean. At first, it appears as a shimmering outline beneath the waves, a faint glint catching the sunlight. Slowly, it emerges, revealing a colossal form made entirely of glittering crystals. Water cascades off its multifaceted surfaces, creating a rainbow of colors that dance across the sky. As it rises higher, you can make out massive crab-like claws and a multitude of tentacles swaying gently in the ocean breeze. What's a normal day like for Johan? What happens when he wakes up?
A normal day for Johan. A normal day for Johan is waking up, making a rich espresso coffee, sitting by a very small little fireplace, warming his hands, and then after having like a boiled egg for breakfast, he would continue with some of his old research, and for breaks stands on the little balcony precipice of the lighthouse, which no longer works, and smokes from an old pipe, and then in the evenings would go out to fish. And it was probably during one of those evenings that he viewed this, and the first thing is just awe looking at this massive creature. It's beautiful and terrifying, and exactly what he's been waiting so many years to find. Proof of something more.
So as the waves rock the little dinghy that Johan is sitting in, you can see it rising higher and higher in the distance. As the sun goes down, it doesn't take away from the majestic beauty of this creature. Its crystal tentacles reaching to the sky, flexing, waving. It seems to be content where it is at the moment. It seems to have just surfaced as if it was just wanting some air. But the water around it has obviously been disturbed, so the waters are a little bit rocky. As it flexes its tentacles, obviously it's creating waves, and it seems like a lot of the creatures that are living in the ocean around it are suddenly coming towards you. And just in a general out of the way kind of maneuver where they're just like, holy fuck, and they're just, getting out of there as quickly as possible. What's the plan?
The first thing Johannes does is pull out his old journal and notes exactly what is happening in his scrawl of handwriting that is just like a doctor's. It's very legible, but it's legible to him. And making a very brief sketch of what he sees, notating exactly what it looks like, with also just a quiet, oh my god.
Does Johannes know what this is?
I think he doesn't know exactly what it is, but he's found some examples of old, archaic symbols from ruins from ancient civilizations long past, in some ancient dialects that maybe he's translated. Mentions of maybe a creature like this that he thought maybe previously was just, mythos, like a lot of ancient cultures. But now he's seeing something that immediately triggers those thoughts of things that he's researched in the past. And just knowing that this is real, it's in front of him, is astounding.
What is the plan with Johannes? He's sketched it out now? Is he planning on going back to shore to have a better look from the lighthouse, or is he going to venture out?
I think so. He won't go towards it immediately. He's gonna get to his lighthouse where I would imagine he has some sort of a spyglass or a telescope of some sort, something that can let him view something from a distance much closer up. I think it would be a spyglass. And he'd go and grab it, scramble up the multitude of steps to the top. Probably also activates. He has a way to manually activate the light of the lighthouse. It's not super consistent, but so that maybe he can get a better view and shine it out towards as he's looking through, because it is starting to get dark.
Okay, I think I might make you do a roll for that. I'll get you to roll deft to see if the button works and if you can activate this light.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
So 2d6. Oh, starting off strong. We love it. You succeeded in your deft roll, so you get a clue card. So you get one of these to
Ooh.
see what you're going to gift the creature, if anything. So we have a 3 in candles. And candles
Okay.
is wands, and so wands means creative gifts such as poem, art, or music. So as long as this is lower than the candles card in the likes and dislikes, it'll be useful to you. We won't know that.
Well, it's
until
a
you get-
3, so that's pretty good.
It's pretty
That's a good
good.
chance.
I like
I'll
it.
take it.
I like your odds. I like the
Yes.
odds. As Johannes is pounding up those stairs, heart racing, excited to see what is out there, as he hits the button, the light bursts brightly and becomes the beacon that it always is, rotating slowly as he gets to the top. So what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to start using the tarot cards now, and we'll start the progression towards the meat creep, and we'll see where this takes us. Alrighty, we've got the High Priestess. So the High Priestess, the creature demands a deep secret. How does this demand come to you? In a dream, in a cryptid visit, or a crackly phone call? If the creature likes what you offer, you gain a point in the Kiss Me scale. And if you refuse or you lie, and they see through your deception, you get a point on the Kill Me scale. So I'm going to say that as Johannes gets to the top of the lighthouse and he's about to pull out his spyglass to have a look, as the light passes over the Crystal Kraken, there's a loud sonorous sound that echoes in his brain, in his ears, and it brings him to his knees. It seems like everything is shaking, even though really nothing is, and it's just the intensity and the pressure in his brain from this sound that this creature has expelled onto him. Through this sound, Johannes gets the feeling that he's being held down and that he will not be let up unless he acknowledges the creature and connects with it in some way. What's the plan?
He feels it rack in his mind, and it's overwhelming. It's a power that he's never felt before. And he feels it's a very clear request for information. It's almost like it's prying something out of him. And while I think his instinct would be to resist, he gets a vague thought of just, what could you find? And so he'd let this power pierce his mind. And it's painful. And I think what he would find out, what would be brought from his mind, is a particular memory that he's very ashamed of. An old friend of his that he went on a fishing trip with. It was a particular stormy night. They'd had a couple drinks, and his friend had decided that it would be a good idea to go out in the storm. maybe catch some exotic fish that usually comes out in a storm like this. It was raging, and Johannes had thought to stop them because it was dangerous, but let it be. And that friend never returned. And he didn't bother looking because it was too dangerous, and he couldn't risk his own life. But knowing that that person had perhaps died because of his inaction is a very deep kept secret he's never told anyone.
I want you to roll charming for me to see if this is something that the creature will relate to. As humans, when we are faced with something like this, our minds don't know how to react. So it'll try to give something that it thinks is required. The Crystal Kraken watches this memory, and it feels your inaction, and it gravely upsets it. Therefore, you'll be adding a +1 to your kill me. Awesome. Already upset the creature. We love it. It's Angies.
That's the way it already goes.
It already goes. As Johannes feels the crushing, almost as if the tentacles were around his brain, at the anger that this creature feels, it suddenly stops and releases, and he feels it pull back. The loud sound becoming softer. As he looks out, he starts to see that some of the tentacles are pulling away and pulling down back through the depths. How does Johannes react to that? What's the go?
He watches as it begins to recede into the ocean and just immediately starts packing some things. He changes into some wet weather gear, just puts a raincoat on and some waterproof sort of fisherman's pants. He grabs some old journals with some research he's collected that he skims through and goes, yes, this will be useful. An old flashlight, his spyglass, of course his tobacco, and perhaps some small rations just in case. And a compass. He takes a compass with him, shoves everything into an old bag, and sets out on his dinghy and furiously rows towards in a just rush of, if this leaves, I don't know what I'll do.
Rowing as fast as his noodle arms will take him.
It's just little noodle arms. He's breaking a sweat within 5 minutes.
Yep. Alrighty, let's see what else the tarot cards have for us for this story. Okay, we have the Sun. You discover something which rarely fails to calm the creature and put them to sleep. What is it? And how adorable do you find this discovery? And how did you discover the calming thing?
I think he would have briefly skimmed through and found this little piece of information. And I think it was something from like ancient rituals. Was a song. And I think as he's rowing, also to calm his own nerves, he would whistle an old tune, something that he'd managed to recollect out of some old ancient texts inscribing this tune. And while he doesn't know the entirety of it, it's been adapted into one of his regular whistles. And it's his own interpretation of almost like a luring song.
As Johannes is rowing, when he knows he has to go far, has always had this tune that focuses his mind and takes away from the pain in his arms as he's rowing. I'd like you to roll curious for me, please. As Johannes is whistling this tune, trying to focus his mind, trying to row as quickly and as methodically as possible to get him to catch up to the creature, he notices his bag is lighting up almost to the tune of the notes of the whistle. What do you do?
Immediately, his focus on the rowing breaks, and he stows his oars and immediately grabs that book. Jostles around in his bag for it.
As he jostles around in the bag, the flashlight falls out. The old flashlight that he picked up. It doesn't seem like it's working. It's always been a funny little piece of equipment that just he couldn't figure out how to turn it on and make it stay on. Like sometimes it might just flick off for a moment, and, you know. It's one of the things that his friend left. Maybe even the last thing that he has of that friend. Before he went into the storm, he left his flashlight. You couldn't see. So yeah, it falls to the ground with a bit of a clatter as you fumble around to get your book. What do you do?
He picks it up with a sigh. This memory of his friend has been brought to the forefront, and he feels that sadness. He just in the moment clicks its on button to see if it will work, if it's gonna be temperamental or not. Probably helpful as it's getting darker.
Clicking it on doesn't do anything to it.
I think he'd just hook it into his sort of belt and continue to grab for that book.
So with the book in hand, what does he do?
Flicks through it and finds that particular page with the inscription that he's translated into a general notation of this tune. And I think what he will do is fashion his hands around his mouth in a makeshift amplification device. And he recites that tune as accurately as possible. With his voice, he isn't the best singer. He whistles better, but his voice will be louder, and he's going to attempt to let it carry over the ocean.
As he makes the music, the chanting, the sounds as best as he can, on his hip, the torch springs to life, and it begins flashing with different colors. In time and in rhythm with what he is sending out towards the Crystal Kraken. What does he do?
He takes note of it, and as he continues to recite this chant, he grabs that flashlight and he's going to look into it, peer into it.
I'm going to point it at his face.
Yeah, he's just, it shouldn't be shining light, so he's just wondering what is going on with it.
As Johannes peers into it, he can hear like a light clicking, as if there's something mechanical inside. As the sound of his voice that is echoing into the night slowly fades, the ticking becomes slower, but he manages to see a glimpse of the globe inside, which is displaying multiple colors, your pinks, blues, greens, and over the top of it, on just under the lens, is a disc that seems to have some inscriptions punched out of it. And if he was to hold his hand up to where the beam is shining, he would start to see this circle of runes slowly turning and changing colors with the light.
He sees that on his hand. He shines the light onto the bottom of the boat and holds it there and begins accurately notating it in his journal and copying it down, whatever it says.
It doesn't seem to be in English. It just seems to be runes of a different kind. In the middle of that disc, as the words are sort of rotating slowly, in the middle there's another punched out sort of cutout. That stays still. And it is of what looks like the Crystal Kraken. The tentacles coming out and the crystalline structure with the crab claws.
No, he compares it to the sketch he made. He looks up at the... I can imagine it's still slowly receding into the ocean.
It is, yeah, it's very slow. He's a big boy.
Yeah. And he's going to look through his journal and see if he can find some of his translation notes. They're not perfect, they're not finished, but there are some runes that he's found that he has been able to translate before. He's going to see if he can find at least a broken translation of whatever this is inscribing, whatever these runes say.
As he's flicking through the book, a page catches his eye of a drawing, and it's not a drawing that he's done, so that's why it sort of caught his eye. It's a bit of like loose paper that's sort of been slid in there. And as he flicks over to it, he sees the drawing is of a man standing on the edge of a dock with a torch in hand, shining it towards what looks like another big sketch of the Kraken. And the symbols are sort of like projected onto the creature. And there's some like little Z's on top of the creature. Just drawn some Z's.
Some little Z's. So, Johannes is gonna look at this image and very quickly change his course back closer to the coast, away from the lighthouse, but towards an old dock with an old, worn-down shack. He's clearly put two and two together that this is telling me to do something, so I'm gonna do it. So, as quickly as he can, he's gonna make his way to that dock. Probably takes him a moment, but he doesn't stop singing. He continues the tune.
And as he rows towards this dock, which is very long, by the way, it's a very, very long one. It's used mostly for fishermen that want to do like deep sea fishing but don't want to go out on a boat. So it's a very, very long dock. As he's making his way towards it, he notices that the ripples in the water, or the waves in the water that are being caused by the Kraken returning to the depths, have now stopped. And the water is calming. So getting to the dock, what does Johannes do?
Scrambles atop of it. Very briefly looks at that sketch. Pulls out that torch, the flashlight, and recreates the image while still singing.
There's another groaning noise, which sounds a lot like rock against rock, as it seems like the creature is turning around to face Johannes at the dock. And softly, it sounds like the music is being echoed back to him from the creature as the waves start up again as the Kraken pulls itself from the depths and towards Johannes. You passed your curious roll, so you get to pick one of these to be able to flip over. Would you like 1, 2, 3, or 4?
I would like 3.
1, 2, 3, let's go. Oop. Oh, it's a castle, so Knight of Castles.
Okay.
I believe that's like an 11.
Yeah, that's fairly high.
It's fairly high, so anything, when you draw a castles card, which you haven't, you've got candles so far, anything below that will be a good one. So castles is pentacles, and pentacles is pentacles as physical gifts, such as food, keepsakes, or even money.
Mm-hmm.
So just something to keep in mind.
All right.
Okay, alrighty, let's go for another clue card because you know what? We're on fire. It's happening. This is great. We're
We are
doing
in the
things.
midst.
Wonderful.
Temperance.
Temperance. What could possibly go wrong is what I like to keep saying. You're becoming concerned that your feelings for the creature are one-sided and that perhaps you've been too subtle. What is some way you can communicate your intentions to the creature? How do you let them know that you are investigating them for a safe and positive reason? How do you do this without putting yourself in immediate danger of murder or insanguination?
I think the way I would interpret that is, you know, with a lot of researchers, and particularly those that are in maritime, there's a lot of history of, like, we've got whaling and things like that, where there's a history of killing for sport or resources and using. And he immediately thinks, I need to make sure this creature doesn't think I'm here to hurt it. That I'm just curious. But there's also that hint of, finds this so beautiful. It's the most beautiful thing he's ever seen. And it's that thing of, it's a strange feeling he hasn't felt for a very long time. And he's unsure what it quite means. But it's attached to his heart rather than his brain. And he would lower the flashlight and instead position it to illuminate himself as to direct attention as best he can. A little difficult. As he would continue to sing, but with less force. He just lets it come forward easily and softer.
As the light illuminates Johannes, the creature draws closer, the waves lapping up on this dock. Obviously he's planted himself enough to sort of not be pushed over. The creature comes as close as it can. You see it is massive. If it wasn't for the tentacles and the claws, you'd probably think it was just a giant glacier just floating effortlessly in the water. But as it gets closer, even under the moonlight, you can see the clear rainbows inside the crystal. As the light from the lighthouse passes over it, it almost sends sparks coming off this beautiful creature. Its tentacles see through. You could just see the night sky behind it, just a little fuzzied even. And as the creature stops and takes you in, it harmonizes with Johannes. The songs become meshed. As off-key as Johannes may be, it does its best. It still finds a way to harmonize it and make the sound between them sound beautiful. However, the music wavers as around Johannes's feet on the dock, it can perceive these harpoon guns and spears that have been left by previous fishermen that have been chasing bigger things in deeper ocean. It's seen these before. It's been around a very long time. You can also see that in some places there are, in fact, spears and what looks like arrows that are embedded in the crystal. As it perceives this, there's a shudder, and Johannes feels that gripping in his mind, not as harsh as it was before when it first met, but more of a cautious, I don't know what your plans are, and I don't know who you are. You're singing this gorgeous, wonderful song to me, but you have all these weapons around you. What's happening? It's very cautious. And you can see that it's close enough that it brings up 2 tentacles in front of Johannes, and they kind of waver menacingly, almost ready to strike if anything were to go wrong.
Dum-Dums and Dice would like to welcome you to the grim darkness of the 41st millennium in the Valentine Heresy, an actual play podcast set in the Genesis adaptation of Warhammer 40,000's Dark Heresy RPG. Newly promoted Inquisitor Lucius Valentine has received visions of the death of the immortal God Emperor. With few options before him, he teams up with hive-bred criminal siblings Lyric and Alto. Together, they must defeat a cabal of shadowy foes to save the Emperor and the Imperium. Can this trio of unlikely heroes survive in a galaxy where there is only war?
The Emperor is going to die in a year. My job is to make sure the Emperor doesn't die. Because if the Emperor dies, the Astronomicon goes out. And the only thing keeping the Imperium alive is the fact that we have a very large navy and a very large army and space marines, and they shoot everyone. It's delightful. Praise the Emperor. Thanks for that. But if the Astronomicon goes out, we have no navy, we have no ability to defend ourselves, and the Xenos and Chaos will overrun us instantly because there will be no defense.
So every planet will turn out like Galen's Glory?
And that would be the best case scenario. Which is why we need to keep the Emperor on his throne.
I spit in my palm and put my hand out for a handshake.
Am I supposed to do something in return? Is this... I'm sorry, I just don't know what this is.
Alto's like, yeah, like this. He spits in his hand and puts it out towards you as well.
Then I spit in both palms and shake their hands separately.
We have an inquisitorial band.
Warhammer 40,000, the Valentine Heresy. Available now.
Debtors in Time, an Echoes of Chaos adventure, where debtors are sent back through history to retrieve artifacts for the insatiable Ignatius Thorn. But when Thorn calls upon once trusted Tucker Ridley, son of his gracious foe Ryan's son, and reluctant rebel icon Elena Haynes, the game changes. Tasked with collecting relics from the past, will they succeed, or will their meddling alter the course of history forever? Debtors in Time. Listen now on YouTube and Spotify.
Johannes will very slowly move from a standing position to a kneeling position. Wide eyes just on the tentacles before him, threatening him. And with palms outstretched in front of him in a signal of, I mean no harm, he will use his foot against some of the harpoon guns and try and push them into the water so he is no longer able to touch them.
Roll me def to see if you can do that. Because obviously you've got eyes on the creature. You're kind of not breaking eye contact, I'm guessing, because...
Yes, not breaking eye contact.
You don't want it to think that you're planning something, so you're kind of fumbling with your foot to push these things away. So let's see.
It is certainly a fumble. It is not...
It's not just a polite kick.
Oh, no. No. Oh, that's not good. Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
So as Johannes is trying to push the harpoon guns away from him, there's a sudden click, and he feels this blinding white pain. What have you done?
Because it's near his foot, it sort of embeds itself into his like calf, and sort of shoots through. So it's not. It's cut a large gash through the back of his calf, and he immediately screeches out in a bit of pain and goes to grip it. Attention sort of breaking from the Kraken, and he does scoot back a little.
So as Johanna's screaming, obviously it startles the Kraken. And the music the music breaks and the singing stops. It kind of just tries to take in sort of what's going on. It was able to sort of tell that you were trying to help and then ended up hurting yourself. What do you do? It doesn't seem like it's going to attack you. It's more now lowering the tentacles more to the height of the dock. So it's just kind of observing what Johannes is experiencing.
He pulls his hand towards himself and sees the blood. And I think what he'll do is his clothes are very old, so they're quite easy to dismantle. And so he'll take a sleeve and sort of try and rip it a bit to tie a makeshift bandage over the wound. And when he does, he'll reach forward, gesturing towards one of the tentacles that has some old spears and weapons embedded into it, attempting to gesture that he would like to help while still bleeding and hurt. The look on his face is like, I'd like to help. Ow.
You have boo-boo, I have boo-boo, let me help. Is the thing like it's embedded into you, so you haven't like pulled it out or anything?
Yeah, it's sort of still there. He's not pulling it out. It's like that. I know better than that. But he is sort of quelling the bleeding a little.
So as Johannes makes his way over to the tentacle, maybe vocalize to the creature that you do want to help, and that will be...
I'm happy to do charm. It's a 5. It could be a lot worse.
As you reach forward to try and pull out one of these things, the Kraken pulls away. It doesn't want you touching it. It's still cautious of Johannes and what's going on. However, it does sort of lower another tentacle which doesn't have any damage to it. And it slithers along the dock towards Johannes. And it sort of slithers up to him. And these are massive, so yes, it is very terrifying, but it's doing it with the utmost slowness to not, like, I guess, like, accidentally punt you into, you know, back to land, you know? It slithers up to you, and as it just touches your leg, you start to feel a cool sensation, a cold sensation, running up your leg. And as you look down, you see that your wound, it looks like it's crystallizing. It looks like these clear crystals are forming around your wound, snapping the harpoon and almost encompassing it so it quells the bleeding.
Johannes watches with awe and will, as it's sort of happening, does position his leg so it's easier to maneuver around. There's no he doesn't pull back. He just lets it happen.
And you failed your charming roll. So unfortunately, that's another one to kill me.
Oh no.
Let's pull another story card and see if we can not turn this around. Maybe, who knows? It's doing our heckin' best. We have Justice. The creature experiences something which deeply upsets them. To you, the event is harmless, but it has upset them all the same. What happened? And what does this tell you about the creature's worldview versus your own?
I think it's just that maybe it's the feeling that perhaps, what if it's the sort of thing where this creature feels like every time it interacts perhaps with humanity, something bad happens? And it's like Johannes got hurt and it upsets it. So it might try to pull away in a sense. Maybe. That's an interpretation.
As you feel the crystals forming around your leg, you feel in your mind a more tender and caressing, for lack of a better word, invasion. Almost like the creature is checking on you, making sure that you're okay. What do you do?
I think he slowly stretches the leg in a sort of, when you try and put a bit of weight on it and just see how it feels. And there's probably still some pain, but subsided a little. He leans his head in a way that he feels that tender caress in his mind. And almost like when somebody places a hand on your cheek, he responds to it, even though it's just mental. And he'll try to mentally respond back a similar response. He's trying to communicate in the same way, because he isn't sure if language will work.
Roll curious to see if you can.
Would love to.
So you succeed. So mentally you reach out to this tendril, this tender tendril that's caressing your mind. And you push to it the feeling that you're okay, that you're grateful, that you're thankful for what it's doing. And as that thought meets the tendril, you start to feel for a moment the overwhelmingness of sadness, the overwhelmingness of worry, of concern. The pictures play in your mind of the Kraken rising up from the water and then looking over the shoreline to see bodies unmoving on the shoreline, boats broken. You see the Kraken in storms trying to rescue sailors that have fallen from their ships. And while some do make it and survive, you feel a sense of guilt and worry that it is the cause of human suffering on the ocean. However, as soon as you push the feeling of being okay, that feeling melts away. And you feel a kind of relief, an overwhelming relief, as the tentacle that had touched you kind of again pulls away slowly. And the song resumes.
I think Johannes will just sit and listen. He's not going to respond. Because it's beautiful. And if he can still reach out mentally, he will communicate that it is beautiful. And he just lets He lets himself remain calm, and there's no movement. He's waiting for it to respond to him. Sort of like with a wild creature, it's that put your hand out and let it come to you. Yeah.
The creature welcomes this calm. So as this calmness travels back through the Kraken, more pictures come into Johannes's mind of many creatures like it in the depths of the ocean. And as time goes on, there are less and less of them. There's no reason, there's nothing obvious as to why there's less, but there's just less. And one particular memory, the Kraken is dancing under the waves with another. The glistening light piercing the ocean, making rainbows in their crystals. A beautiful display. Their tentacles intertwine, refracting the light in different ways. And then suddenly, the other one stops and begins to sink. And the Kraken reaches out to it, but there seems to be no life, no movement coming from the other Kraken as it disappears into the depths. And this Kraken finds itself alone. It sings, desperately sings into the vast ocean, hoping for a response. But it gets none. Until it hears a song similar to what it's singing. And elated it travels. It rushes towards it, spanning miles and miles, until it arrives here at the lighthouse on the dock. There is a man with a flashlight that spans beautiful colors and sings a song that makes him feel less lonely. What does Johannes do in response to that?
He understands, while not directly, he does understand that feeling of loss of someone you were close with, as he would very slowly, again with hands out, reach towards his bag and pull out a very old wooden case where he stores his old wedding ring. And I think he would recall his own memory of his previous marriage with a wonderful woman he used to do research with, and recalls their first dance at their wedding, attempts to project that memory with the overwhelming feeling of sadness as well, attempting to get the feeling that I understand your pain, for I have felt it too.
Okay, because you passed your curious, you get another one of these to flip over.
Okidy dokity.
1, 2, or 3.
Let's do 2.
2. Ooh, we got Queen of Candles. So that means your Queen of Candles. Candles is wands. Wands represents creative gifts such as poem, art, or music. And your gift card is lower than that. So that will be useful in the mid creep.
Beautiful. It will be very, very useful.
Okay, so let's draw another another one from the deck. We're almost at the meat creep. Very exciting. Very good. Wheel of Fortune. Can't say it any other way, really.
That should be a good card. That should be a good card.
The creature seems to be going through some sort of intense transformation. Do they change physical form or their behavior? How did you learn of this change? And does it have any effect on your feelings for them? So, as you're having this moment with the Kraken, you hear cracking. Like the sound that you would hear like on glaciers when the ice cracks, that kind of crackling. And you notice that the crystal structure in the middle is breaking. A wide crack straight down the middle of this creature. While this is happening, you're feeling like the creature is grabbing on to your memory of your first dance with your ex-wife, and is melding the two memories of it dancing with its own love in the ocean. And that feeling is overwhelming. The euphoria is overwhelming for both of you. And as the structure between cracks, you start to see soft tendrils coming out from the break, almost pushing it aside. It has deemed you worthy. It has deemed you akin to itself, and it is comfortable showing its true form to you, a form it's not shown anybody or anything. And as it pushes from its crystal shell, see a round, bulbous head with large black eyes, and from that bulbous head, the tentacles come out, and they are not crystal, but they are bioluminescent. The lights chasing from its head to its tip under the night sky, as it looms over you, basking in that memory that you both share together. What does Johannes do?
He's going to attempt to reach out again. And as there is more comfort, he would like to urge the creature that he would like to help it if it is hurt in the way that it helped him. Gesturing towards the tentacles that had weapons embedded into it. He would like to help it in return.
You're gonna have to roll that charming again.
Alright. I'll do my best.
Yeah, well, you get no ill consequence. That's fine. So as much as you're trying to ask it to help, the Kraken kind of just pulses back into your mind that it too is okay. The structure around it is to protect it. Its soft gooey center is not injured. It's okay. And because you failed the charming, I'm just going to give you a -1 to your next score. Let's see what we get for our next one. I love that this card turns up early in the story. This is going to be interesting to see what happens now when it turns up at the end of this story. It is the Chariot. For this card, you work with an outside organization or entity who also has interest in the creature. Is this collaboration tense or friendly? And what do both parties gain from this collaboration? So as you're experiencing this very raw and very vulnerable moment with this creature, all of a sudden you hear a bang, like the sound of a harpoon gun going off.
No.
As you turn around, it's like you've seen a ghost. For standing before you is the friend you lost in the storm. Definitely not dead. And he says, Johannes, I knew you could do it. I knew you could bring this creature here. Well done, friend will be rich.
Oleg. I didn't... You're alive?
You think I haven't sailed in storms before? Chasing this damn creature? No. I thought you would think better of me, friend.
Please put the harpoon down.
Why? The creature's exposed itself to you. Its meat will go for millions.
But think of what we could discover. Oleg, if it is alive.
Discover what? It's the last of its kind. It wouldn't matter if it was alive or dead. But what matters is what we can gain from it personally. I have some benefactors that will pay handsomely for the creature's meat and the crystals. So stop being a fool. You could still research it, put it on your table. I'll let you have that, but first we need to get it out of the water. And he loads up another harpoon into his gun.
You think me for money?
I was going to share it with you. Had I not realized you were such a coward and didn't follow me into the storm, I bet you thought I was dead.
I did.
I figured as much. But I knew that you were smart enough to continue on the research and figure this out. The creature knows me. It's scared of me, and you can see that the Crystal Kraken is trying to pull itself back into its shell. But it's not, because it's hard because it's broken. But I'm sure I knew that it would feel sympathy for a man like you.
Oleg, don't do this. You don't think what you could lose.
I've been dead for years, Johannes. I don't have anything to lose, but I have everything to gain. So either help me, or I'll dispose of you. And I'll take the creature for myself.
I won't let you.
Oleg aims the harpoon gun at you, and he fires. So I'll need you to roll deft to see if you can get out of the way.
Got a
Oleg?
6, and then I'd have a -1 on that, which is 5.
You also failed your deft. So you get another -1. So Oleg goes to fire the gun, and Johan runs up and sort of tries to push it out of the way to stop him from firing, and it kind of misfires, and it beds itself into the crystal structure, which panics the Kraken. And Oleg sort of trying to wrestle Johan with the harpoon gun. He's like, "You're making a mistake. We could be rich. You could live comfortably. You might even be able to get your wife back. Look at all the things you can gain."
It's too long. I can't. This is my life.
What life is this? Loneliness, sadness. Yourself in that tower, rotting away. All this research, you could have money for all of your research, all of funding, all of your projects.
And will that make me happy?
That is a question for yourself. Why do this line of work if it does not make you happy, my friend? Is that not why you do it?
Not for money. It has never been for money. Look at me. Have I ever done anything for money? You are all blinded.
You're a fool, Johannes. You're a fool. If not for money, if not for fame, if not for discovery, then for what?
For curiosity.
You might have to charm him somehow.
I'll go for charm. I'll do it.
You're trying to appeal to his better nature.
Wonderful.
Add 1 to your goddamn kill me score. As you guys are scuffling, Oleg is just spitting words, spitting nasty things, telling Johannes that he is washed up, that he's not a good researcher, that nothing he'll ever do will amount to anything, that he'll be forgotten once he's dead. And while he's doing this, he is reloading the harpoon gun as best as he can while it's trying to be wrestled from him. And as he wrestles it with your hands, the gun goes off again, and the harpoon goes and pierces into the soft flesh of the Kraken, and that sonorous boom noise echoes in yours and Oleg's mind, bringing you both to your knees as the creature cries out in agony. We are going into the meat creep now. So in this section, I'll be drawing cards from the clue deck, and you'll be either rolling your Curious, Charming, or Deft to beat the card. If you don't think you can beat the card, you may use one of your gifts, your only gift, to try and get you a bit of a win. How many do you have in your Kiss Me, and how many do you have in your Kill Me?
I have 0 in my Kiss Me and 3 in my Kill Me.
Okay, you'll be rolling with a -3, and you only need one more to end the game. So, good luck. Alrighty, so you're in this scuffle with Oleg. The creature is screaming in agony. What does Johannes do?
I think he knows that he's not strong enough and he can't convince Oleg, so he's going to take a different route. He's going to attempt to connect with the Kraken once more mentally, and I don't mean this in a attempt to persuade. I intend this as an attempt to directly influence, if possible, and ask either help while Johannes is distracting Oleg, to help in some way, whether it be perhaps pushing Oleg away or something like that, or to persuade it, to influence it to protect itself, whichever it feels is safer for the situation.
So you're rolling Curious.
That was my intention. I'm like, this is not to charm. This is using knowledge.
You need to beat 11.
I got an 11. That's with the -3.
I'll still count that as a pass. So you connect with the Kraken as you are wrestling with Oleg, and you're giving it those two options. You're like, protect yourself if you need to, but if you can, please help.
Yeah, it's a request, not a do this. Yeah.
Demand, yes. So in its mind, it's kind of getting the feeling that, you want it to be able to be safe. However, the creature feels that it could help. And so the tentacle come down onto the dock, smashing the dock. And the force of the tentacle down on this dock and pulling is creating a bit of like a suction. So as the tentacle comes down and passes through the dock into the water, Oleg's footing is disrupted and he falls, but he's holding on to the end of the dock, the last bits of smashed board. Johannes might have toppled over, but he's not on any of the part that was broken. And he's holding on to the end of the dock with the suction of the water as the tentacle disappears into the deep water. What you doing?
I would like to use Deft and stamp on his fingers. As he would attempt to do that, he would go, "We are mere mortals. We cannot fight these creatures. We must join them." And he would stamp. Okay, I can do that. Possible. Okay, even with a -3, that's a 7.
Add a point to the Kiss Me. How many points have you got in Kiss Me now?
I've got 1.
You've got 1, okay. You also passed the other roll too, so you should technically have 2.
Okay, I have 2. Yay. Okay, I only have a -1 now.
Oleg looks up at you. He's like, friend, we were brothers. We discovered all of these creatures together. Our research is beyond anybody's. Does it have to end like this?
Forced my hand, Oleg. You betrayed me. I'm sorry.
You go and stamp on his fingers,
foot
and
comes
Oleg
out.
cries out, and he lets go, and as soon as he does, the pull of the ocean drags him down. Just Johannes looks over, he can see his friend trying to swim against the pull of the current. His eyes wide with fear. His mouth pursed shut, knowing that he can't let out any air. And as it seems like he's clawing his way back to the surface, a crystal tentacle wraps around his feet. And with a flurry of bubbles in a silent scream, Oleg is pulled to the depths. What do you do?
Deeply breathing. There's silence as Oleg is swallowed up. And compared to the previous feeling when Johannes thought that his inaction had led to Oleg's demise, he now knows he directly led to his demise, and there is guilt, there is shame, but also an understanding that that was the lesser of 2 evils. And he turns to the Kraken and, using his mind and also his words, almost like an echo, will say, "Thank you. I'm so sorry."
The music starts up from the Kraken. It's soft. It is morning. As you see, the harpoon from the harpoon gun has embedded itself into the head of the creature, between its eyes. Bioluminescent, what you would consider blood, dripping as it sways slowly. It reaches out to you, a soft tentacle, and kind of just brushes against your body. What would you like to do?
He will sing. But I think instead of singing that same tune, he will whistle a lullaby, I think. Something meant to be soothing and calming. And also pull out the sketch he had made, joining the 2 together. The gift.
Okay, we're using our gift, so you will get a +1 in the Kiss Me. Where are you at the moment?
That is 3 for 3.
The creature, again, matches tone, matches harmony with Johannes. Its tentacle kind of feeling you over to make sure that, there's nothing, you're not injured, you're not hurt. What do you do next? You're allowed curious, charming, or deft now because that resets everything, so...
In a response to the way that the creature had shed its crystalline protective barrier, Johannes will undress and present himself unprotected in front of the Kraken. And
would you like to try one more time
yeah,
to get the harpoon harpoon shot?
I think so.
Alright. For all the marbles. Now, because you're 3 for 3, there's no modifier, so this will be This will be straight.
Yeah, it's straight. Oh. Oh. It's a 10.
Yeah, no, it's a 9. There you go.
There we go.
Yeah, it's a 9. Okay, so you beat it by 1. As you expose yourself to the Kraken, as you stand there bare, fleshy, vulnerable, the tentacle wraps around your body and pulls him in close. Close enough for Johannes to reach out and pull the harpoon from the creature's head. And a sigh of relief echoes through the both of them. Seeing as you have maxed out your Kiss Me score, tell me and tell the world what this good ending is like for Johannes.
Johannes has always felt a disconnect from the world. He always knew there was more to it. That maybe he was meant for something more. And he feels a connection with this creature that he has never felt for another soul before. And he would press his forehead to the wound and connect and say, "Take me with you. I am yours."
And acknowledging this, the Kraken will shudder. Crystalline structure around it falling away. The crystal tentacles cracking, leaving what seems like mountains of crystal pieces in the water of the beach. And it kind of puts Johannes on top of his head. And together, they disappear on the horizon. Is there anything you would like to add?
It's... the future between the two of them is a partnership. And it is both of them finding companionship where once there was much loneliness. And it's almost, I think, as time would go on, there's almost a symbiotic relationship between the two of them. And I think that is all. I don't think there's much more to add.
Thank you for tuning in to the Cryptid Chronicles as part of the 2024 DramaDoes TTRPG Halloween Special. A huge shout out to Take the Bard, the brilliant mind behind OK Cryptid. Be sure to check them out on Twitter. If you enjoyed this episode and want more, don't forget to follow DramaDoes TTRPG wherever you listen to podcasts. You can also follow the Cool Kids Club on Twitter at Cool Kids Club. That's COOLCIDSCLUB for all the latest updates on upcoming episodes. And of course, if you want to help us grow, please like, rate, comment, save, and share this podcast with your friends. We appreciate your support. Until next time, stay curious, stay spooky, and keep exploring the unknown.